I know how to handle this. You don't. Did you see his gun? I said, no, I didn't see his gun, Jimmy. He said, well, he had one. I've been handling this shit all my life. He said, don't worry about it. In another year's time, I'll come back here. I'll be as big as I am in England. They'll be clamoring for my autograph. They'll drive me everywhere I want to go for free. Just don't worry about it, you know. And of course, he was right.
I recall I did give him some work where he backed Jane Mansfield, and I had to make sure he did the track without her being present, because you know, it might have been offensive the way he was dressed and looked. In those days, he wasn't really in yet. Later on, it became everyone had to dress that way or look that way, otherwise they wouldn't be considered an artist. But in those days, it might have been considered offensive. So we had to lay the track first and then bring her in.
The best way to cope with this, to keep your sanity and to keep your passion, that only this negativity don't rub off on you, is watch the reaction of your audience. Now, if you're playing and your audience is going, that's it, kick it one more again, that keeps your sanity and can keep your own ideas that, hey, I'm not wrong, I'm halfway there. My audience like me at least. Whether I ever hit record know that or I'm famous or not, I can look at my audience and know that I got something.
All this magic was, according to Jimmy, much better if you were tripping on acid. And Jimmy was no novice to narcotics.
Like, for instance, when you try to clean marijuana with still metallic tea streamers, then you die. That doesn't have a rabbit being bent over that Big Mac truck.
We'd all taken lots of acid. We had the basic experience that people shared is loss of ego. To realize that you're not this body, your spirit, soul, and that you may all of a sudden one day you wake up and your whole personality in life isn't what's important. You're seeing a larger picture, whether you're seeing auras and nature spirits. You know there's more here. You know, and also the idea that everybody was on the planet together. There was an incredible feeling of togetherness in the late '60s.
You know the pyramid? Yeah, I had one time over in Florida. I thought it was maybe a pyramid. I didn't know. Maybe in one of my past lives or something.
Pot was everywhere. LSD in the 60s and the flower days of the Haight-Ashbury was everywhere. And at the beginning, it was a great thing. It was just a great way to experiment and expand on your music.
It's all night social workers with mattresses tied around their back. Screaming, curb service, curb service. You want the automobile, curb service, curb service. You know, with the third eye and the middle of the table.
Jimmy took his share of psychedelics. Probably something that people say about Jimmy is the fact that he was a black person that took psychedelics. Black people didn't normally take psychedelics. I don't mean that in a racial way at all. I just mean that he opened up a space in himself with the talent that he had and the background that he had and the genes that he had, and it took him to a different place than most people have gone. He was a different version of a man that we've seen on the planet many times.
Another 38,000 feet, we go higher and higher, and Cleopatra has this beautiful raven hair. You're not really used to them do that, except they do.
He told me, he says, one of the best things he ever done was drop acid. He said he was a changed man from then. He said when he dropped that acid, he just picked up his guitar one time, just colors and shit, beautiful colors around him. He told me that it was an amazing thing. Eric is like, it was an amazing thing. But I go, but ain't you scared the fucking walls are gonna start cracking, an elephant runs through it? No, man, that ain't what it's about. That ain't what it's about. And he says it's just opened up another part of him that he did not know.
But Jimi Hendrix was not immune to the problems brought by drugs.
He always had hangers on, up to probably 50 at a time in his hotel room. And he was feeling ill, having some stomach problems that evening. And he expressed that to a reporter that was in his room at that time, that he was having trouble, with the stomach, and, there's too many people hanging on, just wouldn't leave. And a young lady came up to him, a groupie at the time, and said that I have something that I wanted to give you that I think will help your stomach problems. And it was in a bottle of seltzer, a dry seltzer tablet bottle, that she popped it in his flight bag. He had forgotten about it, went on tour for another day, and when leaving Detroit into Toronto, several people alerted Jimmy that they would be checking for drugs and everything like that. And he said, it's not going to affect me at all. I'm fine, I don't have anything on me. And sure enough, when he got across the border, they'd found a hash pipe with resins on it, and this bottle of bromo seltzer at the time that contained some heroin. And they arrested him right on the spot. Luckily enough, he got out of jail and did a concert that evening.
I know that he took LSD. Everybody knows that Jimi Hendrix took hallucinogenics. That was a part of his appeal. It was also a part of his confusion.
GIs in Vietnam took Jimmy to their hearts. His music was a rare dose of sanity in the world of Southeast Asia, where guns had replaced guitars.
In America, it was much more political, and there was the problem of Vietnam. And Jimmy became quite anti-Vietnam.
Paradoxically, for all his talent and soul, Jimmy was not popular with Afro-American fans. He was playing to a majority white audience. Race issues were a double-edged sword. His fans were white, but he was also under pressure from black revolutionary parties to contribute money to their fight.
I think Jimi Hendrix was on safe ground as long as he was apolitical. And he really didn't have much interest in all of this until the Black Panthers came along and worked on his sense of compunction.
He became quite interested in black pride. After all, he was a black man.
You had political groups like the Black Panthers coming in, which tried to reach Jimmy backstage with their own agenda and get him to come on their side, which I think he was interested to some extent.
Being Jimmy, of course, he wouldn't say no. So, there became attachments there that really, I don't think he truly believed. I don't think there was a prejudicial bone in Jimi Hendrix's body, anti-white or anti-anything else. But, he felt in some ways that he owed it to people to kind of go along with some of those things.
Jimmy's striding guitar also became a sound check for massive demonstrations worldwide. By the time of the Monterey Festival, Jimmy was accepted by fellow musicians and the fans as the greatest guitar talent in the world.